You probably already know that your body is a system. Your blood is rushing about your veins because of your pumping heart. Your kidneys remove waste from your blood. Your lungs enable you to breathe and so on. In other words, your body consists of various organs held together by their respective relationships, serving the purpose of keeping you going. But how about a football team? A company? Are they systems too? Of course. Systems are everywhere, though some are more obvious than others. Everything in the world around us is part of a system. In fact, everything on Earth is divided into subsystems that form larger subsystems, which produce larger ones yet. A cell in your liver is a subsystem of the organ itself, which is a subsystem of yourself, and you're a subsystem of a family, which is a subsystem of a nation, and so on. Today on VadeMecum, we'll take you on a journey into the world of systems. We'll explain what systems are, where to find them, and how to apply system thinking to approach more effectively different aspects of your life. But before we dive deep, don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't, hit the bell button to get notified when new videos are out. Systems thinking is the study and analysis of systems. A system is a group of interconnected parts that work together toward a common purpose or function. Systems exhibit certain identifiable characteristics and consistent patterns of behavior. When one part of a system is changed, all other components of the system are impacted as well. Systems thinking requires an understanding of the elements, interconnections, and purpose or function of a system. Systems thinking helps us look at the world in a new way because it encourages us to look at events and patterns by focusing on the connection and relationship between a system's parts, instead of only looking at the individual parts in isolation. Systems thinking leads us away from trying to come up with a quick fix to a problem, which we too often do, in favor of considering the long-term consequences our actions may cause. It supports a deeper level of understanding than we typically take the time to see. Systems thinking is being able to examine and analyze ourselves and the things around us with the express purpose of being able to improve upon them. It requires us to be more observant and aware of the things that impact us, in both big and small ways, and then be willing to take the necessary steps to change the obstacles in our path. Adopting even just a little bit of systems thinking in your life can help you to improve countless areas. Systems thinking is at its heart looking at problems in a way we haven't before. It is a realization that everything is interconnected, and we should look at things as a whole, rather than just a group of independent parts. Systems thinking means looking at the big picture first, then digging in deeper to examine its parts, and focusing on the relationships between them. It is a supportive framework that helps you develop habits in your mind. Those habits give you feelings of strength and power that make you understand you have the ability to tackle even the most complex problems and affect positive change. It has been said that those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. The same can be said for systems thinking. Removing a leader from power without addressing and changing the system that was in place during their rule will only mean that the same patterns will continue to repeat themselves, and a very similar leader will step in and fill the position. A child who is taught hatred and prejudice from a young age will grow up to practice hatred and prejudice unless the system is improved and the cycle is broken. Now that you know what a system is, it's important that we define what it is not. Anything that is only a collection of items without the interconnections or a function is not a system. Taking shells that have been deposited on the beach and making them a group doesn't make them a system. The shells are just there, left behind as the waves deposited them on the sand. They're simply there, randomly and without any unifying purpose. Systems are made up of three parts: elements, interconnections, and a function or purpose. The word function is used when talking about a non-human system, and the word purpose is used for human systems. The elements are the actors in the system. In your circulatory system, the elements are your heart, lungs, blood vessels, arteries, and veins. They do the work. The function of the circulatory system is to allow blood, oxygen and other gases, nutrients, and hormones to flow through the body to reach all of your cells. A school is a system, with the elements represented by teachers, students, principals, custodians, secretaries, bus drivers, cooks, parents, and counselors. The interconnections are the relationships between the elements, the school rules, the schedule, and the communications between all of the people in the school. The purpose of a school is to prepare the students for a successful future and to help them reach their full potential. In our example of the circulatory system, the interconnections were the actual physical flow of blood, oxygen and other gases, nutrients and hormones through your body, and also the signals sent by the brain to all of the parts of the body, communicating to them how to do their jobs and help the body function. These physical flow interconnections tend to be the easiest ones to see. Oftentimes, interconnections are not physical flows, but rather the flow of information. These interconnections are usually harder to see, but if you look deeply enough, the system will always reveal itself. A system's purpose or function doesn't have to be written down or spoken aloud. It can be expressed just through the system's operation. Watching a system for a bit to see how it behaves is often the best way to figure out its purpose. A government may profess that educating children is a high priority, but if it slashes education funding, then clearly educating children is not a primary purpose of that government. If a cat catches a lizard, but then bats it around and plays with it, then its primary function was not to hunt the lizard for food. We figure out the purpose or function of a system from the way it behaves, not from our expectations or the purpose the system says it has. Every component of the system is essential. Elements, interconnections, and the purpose or function all interact with each other, and each one plays a vital role in the system. The purpose or function of a system is often the least noticeable, but it definitely sets how the system will behave. Interconnections are the relationships within the system. When they are changed, the behavior of the system is also usually altered. The elements are typically the most visible parts of a system, but are often the least likely to cause a significant change in the system unless changing an element impacts the purpose or interconnections as well. Each part of the system is equally important as they work hand in hand, but changing a system's purpose has the greatest impact on the system as a whole. There are many different types of thinking. No one type of thinking is better than the others. They are all useful in certain situations. We shouldn't only use one type of thinking to the exclusion of all others. Apart from system thinking, some of the most common types of thinking are linear thinking, event-oriented thinking, lateral thinking, critical thinking. We are not going to delve deep into the other types of thinking in this video. However, we are going to analyze one type that is very common in our society, which is linear thinking, and contrast it with system thinking. Linear thinking is the way we were typically taught to think throughout our lives. It involves looking for a link between a cause and an effect. This type of thinking believes that one cause has one effect. Linear thinking tells us that there is a cause and an effect, a problem and a solution, and a beginning and an ending. This model of thinking looks for a simple one-to-one connection. Linear thinking can be quite helpful in solving specific kinds of problems. For example, your cell phone shuts off the effect because the battery was dead, the cause. If you plug in your phone and charge the battery, your phone will work again. Or you overslept, the effect, because your alarm wasn't set, the cause. If you set your alarm, you won't oversleep the next time. Linear thinking is a quick and easy way to find a solution to a problem. Linear thinking also comes with its drawbacks. It doesn't look at things as complex systems and chooses only to focus on one small piece of a much larger puzzle. There is often much more to any given situation than linear thinking allows us to examine. When we focus on just one small part without taking into account how it is connected to a larger system, It is possible that our solutions may create unintended consequences that are not always beneficial. Think of it like when you go to visit the doctor because you are not feeling well. If the doctor just works to eliminate your symptoms without finding out the real cause of your illness, your problem won't ever get solved. In fact, correcting the symptoms without getting to the root of the problem may end up making things worse, because unintended side effects may arise. The same is true of linear thinking when systems thinking is needed. If you take the time to carefully analyze the system's behavior patterns, elements, interconnections, and purpose or function, you can discover and solve the real problem. And you will often find that the symptoms have taken care of themselves and been eliminated as well. Systems thinking is very effective in helping to solve a variety of complex problems. If the concern is important, the problem has occurred repeatedly and has a history that can be studied and analyzed, and people have tried to solve the problem in the past with little or no success, it is a prime candidate for a systems thinking approach. Begin by asking new questions. People are naturally inclined to want to assign blame for a problem. It is a quick and easy fix, and it makes us feel better. It has been said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. While there is some debate over the origin of this quote, it offers us important insight into systems thinking. We need to break free from the blame game, and instead be willing to ask the tougher questions like, what is it that we are missing? Or what don't we understand about the problem? When you begin your systems thinking analysis, it is entirely possible that the data and information before you will just be the tip of the iceberg. There is so much more that you can discover beneath the surface by examining not just events that occur, but also patterns of behavior and the structure in place responsible for driving those behavior patterns over time. It is only by being willing to look from all perspectives that you can truly get to the heart of the problem. Once you've collected data, you should write down how the system in question works, noting its structural arrangements and functions. This will double-check that your models are complete, add up, and are consistent. While conducting this process, you should pay attention to what's important, both in terms of measurable and immeasurable factors. That's because humans tend to place more value on numbers and quantity, and less on quality, as the former is easier to measure and relate to. But things like justice, democracy, security, and freedom are essential too, even though they can't be quantitatively assessed. And it's also key to notice how a system produces its own behavior. To do so, just keep these questions in mind. Which external and internal influences produce certain behaviors? Are these factors controllable? Once you answer these questions, you'll be able to see where responsibility lies in the system, as well as how actions are produced and what consequences they have. For example, if you're upset about a delayed flight and ask yourself these questions, you'll be much less likely to take out your frustration on an innocent stewardess. Remember that a system is bigger than the sum of its parts, and while all parts of a system are equally important as they work hand in hand, if you want to change a system, it is more efficient and impactful to change the interconnections in purpose or function than it is to change the elements. Unless changing an element impacts the purpose or interconnections, changing the rules and relationships can often create a whole new system. There are many lessons to be learned from systems thinking. Incorporating system thinking into your daily life might impact your life pleasantly in unexpected ways. Systems thinking is a major paradigm shift from the more traditional ways of thinking that we are so familiar with. Everything we see, do, and experience in this world is made of systems. While we cannot fully understand them, predict their behavior, or exercise control over them, the least we can do is study the behavior and patterns they exhibit. Doing so will enable us to help them function better and identify when a broken system is in need of repair. System thinking isn't an easy or familiar concept, but it's worth it. We tried as much as we could to simplify the concept for you. Stay tuned, and in future videos, we could make videos on system behavior, how to create a system, or what makes a system sustainable or not. Let us know in the comments below if you would like to watch such videos. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on the bell button for future contents. Until next time, take care.